Ladies and gentlemen, it is such an honor to have you here tonight, chimed in for Reinvent Her live talk with Marian. Hey guys, we got a phenomenal show tonight, and we have some women, ladies that are fired up and they're ready to go. They're ready to come out from behind. What is that thing where the horses be? What is that thing called? Where the horses be, and they're ready to come out the gate. They're ready to come out the gate to share their thoughts with you and I tonight. And of course, our topic tonight is the cost of betrayal. And I'm sure that each of you have been through betrayal at some point in your life. So tonight, I'm so honored and so pleased to have as my guest tonight Miss Joan Hale. Joan, would you like to share something with the audience about yourself? So honored you're here tonight.
Sure. I am Joan Hale. I have three children. I'm an assistant pastor and I'm a survivor of being betrayed.
Woo! I heard that one. My other phenomenal guest tonight is a beautiful woman of God as well. Her name is Fouchina Kirkendoll. So, Fouchina, would you like to share something with the
Yeah,
audience concerning you?
thank you. My name is Fouchina Kirkendoll, and first of all, I want to say thank you, Miss Marion, for just inviting me to be on this platform to join with such a phenomenal panel here. I hail from Duluth, Georgia, but I am a native of South Carolina, the Low Country to be exact. I have two children, one 27 and one 10. Yes, they're 17 years apart. And I have a child, and I'm like Miss Joan. I am a survivor of betrayal.
Wow, I like that. We all have survived the madness. Wow. So, guys, we're so honored. And, we're going to dive right in because we have a lot to talk about tonight. And I know you're excited and you're anxious to share because the cost of betrayal, the costs keep going up. The- because it costs for you to betray someone. As lightly as it might be taken among some, but there's a price to that. So, what comes? We're going to talk about that. Could you tell me one of your experiences about being betrayed? Just any one of you guys can chime in.
Well, I was in a relationship, not just a dating relationship, but marriage. And knowing that marriage is sacred, knowing that your vows are to be sacred, but to learn this, and this is a stumper, to learn this 8 years after marriage, that I was being betrayed the entire marriage. So this is not just any type betrayal. It's
Wow.
been a long-term thing that I didn't know anything about. But when I did find out, I found out with proof, with evidence, not hearsay. So it's a hurtful thing. It's a really hurtful thing because you put into relationship, but especially into a marriage. So being betrayed, and just as you said, it takes a lot for a person to actually betray you. It takes a whole lot of head work. It's a lot of hard work for somebody to just work to deceive you. And so, we're just getting started, but that's that's where I am, and that's what took place in my life uh, in the past. But again, I say I'm a survivor,
Yes, you
and
are. You know, because betrayal comes in many forms. A lot of times we don't talk about all the betrayal that we may have encountered in our lifetime. It doesn't make it any less painful if we don't talk about it. So, Fachina, would you like to share with us how did your journey? Should we call it a journey? Began
Yeah.
with betrayal.
It's interesting because I can come on two spins of that. I've been betrayed and done betraying. So I understand both
Ooh,
aspects of the betrayal. But mine came from being in a relationship. And, you know, when you start off in a relationship and you think when you started off wrong, it ends wrong. That's how it is. And I was in a relationship and come to find out this person was throwing me under the bus the whole time. Ended up with a child, and the whole time throwing me under the bus, no matter what. Did not have my back. I ended up having a child, and he left and got married to someone else. Thus says the Lord. To end up
Wow.
being divorced later on, and with someone else. So it's just interesting, it's something because it ended up in public humiliation. It ended up in all types of uh, it ended up in health challenges. It ended up in a lot of things. But
Oh, yeah, we're going to dive in a little deeper as we share. So when did Joan? So when did you find out that your spouse was having an affair?
It was like I said, 8 years into the marriage. When I found out really through family, and when she talks about public betrayal or public shame, you know, people knew about this before I knew, way before I knew about it. But I mean, I kind of not really expect people to just come out and say, especially in a marital relationship, people tend to stay away from that. They tend to, just leave it alone, let it work out itself. Whereas if you're just, dating one another, whenever they'll have, I guess, they'll come to you quick about it. But 8 years, 8 years, I was married
Wow.
to this person. 8 years.
So I heard you say that your, maybe family and friends knew before you. Would you have expected them to come to you to share?
I would have. I would have expected them, but as I was saying, I kind of understand because as we grow, and in the older days, people would tell you, "Child, mind your business, child, stay out of that, child." And so I guess people are hesitant to come forth with that type of information. But a heads up would have been good, and it would have been good like a few years back.
Mm,
So you hurt, and when you're betrayed, you as well feel betrayed, by the people that knew and didn't.
wow. So how do you feel about that, Fachina? That when you said that, that really touched my heart. That you felt betrayed by the people that knew and wouldn't say anything to you. Fachina, how do you feel about that? When you
you
found
know,
out that your spouse was having an affair, or
well, it
your
wasn't.
friend?
No, it would be no, definitely not my spouse. But my thing was, a part of me knew, a part of me knew, and then it was denial for me. I was in denial, and then even though I saw the evidence, I didn't want to believe it. But then once again, the way you get them is the way you lose them. And then when people were telling me what was going on, it was one of those denial things. I was still in denial because I just wanted it to work. Regardless of what happened, I just wanted it to work for me. And regardless, I was in denial, straight denial.
I understand that. So no matter, even if they would have told you, you wasn't going to believe them anyway.
Well, it was like this. It was more so, I felt like it was going to work out. So you're right. It didn't matter what they said. I was going to work it out because I held on to this thing called hope.
Mm. So, like I heard somebody, say, well, did you see all the signs that they were, because we as women, we know when things are different than when on the onset of a relationship. Because on the onset of a relationship, you get all the attention, you get all the affections, you get all the sex. Come on, you know what I mean, on the onset. But now down through the years or the months or however long it took before all of this began, that something changed at some point. So, Joan, did you recognize, you said 8 years, but did you recognize a change, or
Yeah,
you just,
yeah. That time went on. Really, just before it blew up. Just before it blew up, I would notice, the complaints about dinner. You cooking the same thing, over and over again. The complaints about, well, I have to work. I can't be there for certain. There's certain things, that really, really open my eyes, uh, such as the birth of our daughter. When I went into the hospital, I had to have,
Fouchina. Go ahead.
be induced. So there's a set time, right? We know what time happened. So what time you're expected to be there. Now, when that time is gone, and I'm not trying to hold up on having this kid to wait for you, to get there, because this is a very important event in your first child together. So I expected you to be there. Time came and time went, and he wasn't there.
So
That was a
yeah,
big sign to me,
yeah.
you know?
It's like what Gina said, like the denial,
Yeah.
not wanting to actually face what was going on. Because do you, Christina, what signs did you see that even though you chose not to see them, but what did you see?
The text messages. It was the text messages,
Wow.
and then I saw you trying to hide the text messages. I'm in giant private eye. You can't hide those kind of things for me. And when I get to a point where I feel like I have to verify if you're telling me the truth through a text message, that's a problem for me. That is a problem for me. It's like you're walking like a dog and talking like a cat. So with me, you're one thing, then you're out in the street, and then someone's telling me this and you doing that, no, it's just not adding up. And I think with it, oh yeah, it just hit the head. And even though I knew all that, it was like, and then God was showing me. He would say, red alert, you need to get out of this. And I was like, but I love him, Lord, I love him, I love him,
I
oh, I ended up having a stroke.
remember that.
Didn't even
Wait,
realize I
wait,
was.
wait, wait, wait. Come up closer. You're fading out. I want your voice. What
I said
happened?
I was having a stroke. I still remember that to that day. I just thought I was just having a really bad headache. I just was ready to die. And I got through it. I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't go to the hospital. But it was when I had my second stroke and I went to the hospital because I lost a little bit of my vision, but it came back. And I said, I need to know what's going on. They said, Miss Kirkendoll, you have a history of strokes. And I remember the time when I had that first one. It was when I was with him. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
He was giving me signs all along, and I still would not listen. I was still doing what I wanted to
Because you
do.
still trusted him.
I still trusted the man and not
Yeah.
God.
Right, exactly. You were trusting you
Denial is a real thing. Okay, listen to the signs, honey.
listen to this. Yeah, because sometimes we as some women, like we'll just pretend we don't see and we'll overlook them. Being married, the length of time that I have, listen, my husband hasn't always been a pastor, and I knew times when he was tipping, and I remember this is what he used to tell me. Sometime I was living in New York, and when he got ready to go out, because we were discoing during that era. So when he got ready to go out, he would say to me, well, I'm going out for a piece. I said, I have to think about that thing.
For a piece,
He
he
said,
said.
listen, I had to think about that thing. He probably was really doing just what he said. He probably was going off for a piece.
Piece.
I mean, so as women, you do understand. Maybe the position of the sexes change. Maybe there's always a sign if you want to see a sign. But I always heard the adage: if you look for something,
Find it.
Yeah,
you're
if
gonna
you
find something.
go
But you
digging,
won't be looking. Say that again, Fouchina.
if you go digging, you're gonna find bones.
Yes,
Hmm.
it's true. So what about you found out the relationship is going south quick. And you said, well, you know what? I need some help. So I'm going to go try to find me a counselor. So what if you chose to, Joan, this is for you. What if did you seek out counseling for this or you just, and maybe what about if you wanted to go to counseling, he didn't want to go to counseling?
No, actually, what I wanted from him was the truth. I wanted him to tell me himself. yourself the truth. Where did this come from? When did this happen? Why? Just tell me the truth. We're supposed to be connected. We're supposed to be one. And as if there's an issue in any relationship, communication is the key.
Oh, communication is critical.
Really, this is what I wanted. First of all, I wanted to hear the truth. I wanted to hear the why. The why. But when I keep getting the runaround, when I keep getting stories, you know, and
You mean more? Let's put
excuses,
it plain. When you keep hearing more lies.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, more
Okay, see, that's
lies.
what. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, first of all, that's disrespectful. All of it's disrespectful. But for you to even in a way make me feel even more belittled by lying to me, I don't think I can deal with that anymore. That's not what I'm in this for. That's not why I'm in this relationship. If we can't be honest and if I can't trust you, I can't be with you.
Wow. Without trust, there is no relationship. Truly.
And
Um, so what about what about if he would have confessed? Because you said you wanted the truth, you wanted the why. So Fachina, did you get the why that Joan was asking for?
I already knew why. You had a history of doing it. So it was a history of doing it. My thing was, I thought I could change him. He would change for me.
Wow, that's good.
He would change for me. I know I can change him. No, women, they can't. If you went in there knowing this, you can't change nobody. They have to
No.
do something that they have to do or want to do for themselves, you know. And let me just say this: when you go into a situation, and you may not know what's going on at first, but when you do know, God will always give you a way out of the situation. It's up to you on doing the right thing.
Yeah, because when you want to know the why, sometimes we think we want to know. And then once we find out what we wanted to know, then that caused another level of pain. And now it began us to question ourselves on whether we are worthy, or we valuable enough, or whether we were pretty enough, or now it begins to bring self-doubt within ourselves once we ask why. And most time they ain't gonna tell the truth anyway.
Some of us ask questions that we know we're not ready to handle the
We're not
answer,
ready for the
or
answer.
we know the answer, but we can't handle the truth, or don't
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah, I don't want to face the truth, because truth is really hard to face.
Yeah,
Like when they bring the truth to you, you be saying, like, I don't know about you. So Fachina, because I heard you say that, when this incident happened, that did you feel that your name was on a smear campaign?
yeah, at some point because of how I went into it. But you know what I learned? How it went in. God is awesome because even in my filth and my mess, He was still gracious about it on how it went down. Because I went and sought forgiveness to the woman that I needed to sought forgiveness for, and she forgave me.
That's a
She was
pretty powerful thing.
He was the one that when I introduced myself to who I was, that said to me she was happy that I came to her. I didn't have to say much. She told me everything and validated everything that I had experienced. And she asked me how long was I with them, and I said 3 years. She said try 24. And I said, if you don't mind me asking, what made you do it? She said, I held on to hope. And then she just started going into details about other stuff. But what got me is when she said, you know, um, but God sent me someone who truly loved me and my family. And you know what? God is going to send you yours too.
Wow. And when you were saying earlier that you tried to change, uh, women have a bad habit of trying to change. Ain't enough sex. You can't roll it around enough. You can't drop it enough, because nothing can change a man. He has to want to change himself. And how many women have gone into relationships thinking that they can change? They're loved. if I cook, if I clean, if I wash. You get what I mean? You know, all the things we as women do.
But that's the truth of the matter is we have to do a self accountability for ourselves. Why do we allow ourselves to get in that type of situation? And I had to do a self accountability for myself. And I just had this conversation with a friend of mine because I'm here for my homecoming for St. Aug. And we
Oh,
didn't realize
beautiful.
how much we were so beautiful back, and we're beautiful now, but how beautiful we were back in the day that we didn't even know it ourselves. And even growing up before we really got serious into the ministry, how beautiful we were, how we lack self-esteem, lack self,
Yeah.
allow ourselves to get into certain.
Lack self worth. We lack self worth.
And when you start going to someone and then they start, men knows when you lack something, they feed on it and they manipulate it just like that. And if you're not savvy on it, if you're not strong in it, then you're going to get eaten up. You are. But all it takes, okay, I'm gonna stop.
Okay,
Go ahead.
well, with that, would we say that there were a sense of neediness
Yeah.
emanating from us?
Yeah, it depends on what you're lacking in your life. Now, I'm not saying that's Joan's situation is much different than my situation, but she because she didn't know. As women, we're nurturers by trade. We're emotional, and when we give our all, we give all of it.
All
Thinking that we're going to get it back in return. And when we're lacking from our significant other, we will give more to try to compensate for what we're not getting from our male counterpart until
Meaning,
it comes to a head.
wow, wow.
yes,
So someone asked a question, how many, because Jesus, the Bible says, forgive 70 times seven. I guess that's dependent on how often should you forgive. I guess that's dependent on how deep your wounds are. I don't think anybody should stay in a relationship if they are constantly being beat down and, belittled and abused physically, emotionally. How you feel about that, Joan?
I just don't see it. I don't see it because at what point do you begin to love yourself?
Ooh,
And I
yes.
needing, wanting, because there are times as little girls we grow up, we have this thought in our mind: I want a family, I want a husband, I want some kids, and this is what I want. And as you grow, depending on your environment, that's just something that you desire. You see your auntie, you see your uncle, you see different ones having families, and this is what you desire. But when is it that we are going to learn that I am worth more? Not more than, I am more. You understand? And so we have to have in our own heart for our own selves that I deserve better.
Mm-hmm.
And to forgive, I can forgive you. I can give you, but betrayal is that's a tough thing. It is
Oh,
very.
yes.
When I look at you, I can see what you did. When I hear your voice, I can see what you did. When you say something that's supposed to be something sweet to me, I can see right through that. So again, once you've done that to me, I don't want you anymore. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm looking for you to. I'm looking. You, be real, man. Just say it. I know you say. Sometimes we ask the question and we don't really want the answer, but sometimes we want the answer,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to know, what is it in all these years of marriage that caused you to sit here and just lie to me? What
Mm-hmm.
is it, of all years of marriage? And I'm talking marriage.
Okay, well
I'm not
then,
talking.
okay, hold on, Joan. I hear what you're just saying, but I have to ask you this question. Then what was his answer?
He made excuses. He made excuses. And I'm going to leave it like that. I will tell you what he said, but it was lies. It was lies. Just think about it. This marriage took place 6 months after we were married and lasted.
Wait, 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 wait. I got to do a rewind.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, now he got married again while he was married to you. I can't hear you say that. I can't.
Yes. Yes.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That
So
is,
this, yeah, this is deep. This is betrayal.
So let
and,
me ask you this question, because now this is gonna turn this whole thing around. Did
really?
you know? No, no, seriously. Did
Go
you
ahead.
know this individual?
No, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Wow.
And I still don't.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
So at what point did you come? Because remember, we were saying the Bible says to forgive 70 times seven. So at what point did you, Fouchina, begin to say, you know what, I got to come out of this here because this is not good for my health, mentally, physically, man, I'm falling apart with this. What point did you decide that you're going to come out?
After I had my son, I knew that I had to raise my son and I had to be in physical form because honestly, I got to a point where I was in a rage. And, I'm not sure if people are familiar with that Lifetime show called Snap. That's where I was. And I knew that my son had to have his mother to raise him. And it was not, I was not in a good place whatsoever. And I knew I had to be there for my son. But it wasn't until either my first heart attack or my second heart attack that because I ended up with congestive heart failure after,
Wow.
because when I was having my son, I had to end up with preeclampsia because I was so stressed from the relationship. They induced my labor. I ended up with it was a very rough delivery. They had all types of specialists in there until finally the all the doctors end up meeting in my room, and next thing you know, they were pulling wires off me and rushing me into the room, and I ended up in with congestive heart failure, everything. I can't even tell you about the delivery too much because it was a blur. But anyway, long story short, when I ended up in the hospital with congestive heart failure, and then I got out of that, I ended up with two heart attacks. God was like, "It's time for you to let this go."
Wow.
It's to a point where I had to find peace with this, and then first I had to take accountability for my actions that I played in this, and
Yeah.
I for forgiveness on it. And then I sent an email and I emailed all the parties I needed to ask for forgiveness for. And I had to finally let it go. And
Wow.
because it was killing me, the anger and everything,
Wow.
it was literally killing me. And I was like, I don't want any other woman raising my child but me. I had
God.
to let it go. And yes, the Bible does tell you to forgive 77 times and 77 times, but he also tells you not to be a fool. To forgive, but he
That's
also tells you to use wisdom.
yeah, to
Okay.
use
And
wisdom.
I will tell you is protect your peace.
Yes.
You got to get to a point where you draw a line in the sand. And once you draw that line in the sand, I'm on this part of the sand and you're on that part of the sand. And you're not allowed over this line. I can still love you because God commanded me to love you, but I don't have to like you. Okay. I will respect it, but that's as far as it goes. For me having a child, I have no animosity towards anybody, include my children's father. They're the fathers, and my kids don't choose who their father is going to be. You're going to respect your father because that is the word of God, and I'm going to
Oh,
teach you.
absolutely.
So I don't put myself in the middle of them. I want you to have a relationship, but that's as far as it goes, as far as I'm concerned. So yes, I do forgive, but I'm very cautious. So I'm like Joan. Yeah, but I don't hold on to that. But I keep it in the back of my mind that listen, I know what's up. We're just going to have the relationship when it comes to our child, but that's as far as it goes as far as I'm concerned. I one of the people, I'm not going to let anybody go hungry. I'm not going to do anything like that, but that's as far as it goes.
Well, I remember I was saying betrayal comes in all forms. And
Yes.
my betrayal isn't exactly like you guys, but pain is pain. Hurt
Mm.
is hurt. Disappointment is disappointment. And I experience my betrayal on a total different level. And I'm talking about betrayal in ministry, a whole nother form of betrayal, but nonetheless, it still caused pain in your life. And it's something that you had to go through. I had to learn to forgive. Anger, bitterness, all of those emotions were wrapped up. So did you guys feel any bitterness, any well, yeah, Fouchina, you just said, what's the name of that show again?
Snapped. Snapped.
You could have been on the show Snap. So tonight, I would like to share with the audience out that I would admonish you to get a copy of this book. It's called Put the Knife Down. It is because I didn't realize that when I thought about my experience, that I had a knife in my hand, and that I really, God says, why slay your brother? And I understand the snap for Sheena because I wanted to slay, and it wasn't my hair.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, sir.
So,
Absolutely.
guys, I'm going to tell you, if you go to my Cash App and you just pay $13 for this book, and I'm going to get someone to get in contact with you, and I'm going to make sure you get a copy of this book because betrayal comes in all levels, in all forms, and it takes a minute to forgive. I know
Yes.
people say, I forgive you, but it just don't happen like that. So you're going to have to deal with every level of those emotions. Did I wanted to hurt somebody? Yes, I did. And I think if my husband hadn't stopped me from going out the door to fulfill my own desire
Agenda.
of righteousness, if you get what I mean, I
Yes.
would have violated a lot of spiritual things I would have done because I was angry, I was hurting, and I was bitter. So, Joan, how did you start healing, your healing process?
Really, I had to just accept what has
Acceptance. Mm-hmm.
happened, realize that uh, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It may have been something about you that he or she didn't like. It may have been something about you that changed from the where it was in the beginning, but it wasn't your fault. I believe that when we make these decisions, and women, we hold on, we put our all.
Oh,
But when you make that decision to betray a person, you know, you're saying, I don't care about you anymore.
oh, that's exactly what they're saying.
I don't love you anymore. You're saying,
Or you're not as
no,
important to me as I am to you.
you're
Right.
not to me as I am to you. And then, of course, betrayal is, well, I'm gonna show you this is how I feel about you. you know
Mm-hmm.
and so you have to take all those things, and like I said before, you just have to come to the realization that, girl, you are special. That, girl, you deserve better. That, girl, you should not be crying day and night over this man, because whatever he's doing, he's going to continue to. So I had to get to a point where I love myself. If my dad was here, he could tell you how many times I cried. I mean, like a baby on his shoulder, just cried. Church members, they can tell you, even in church, I would just break down and cry, because this was something that I did not expect. I did not expect. The relationship, I thought, was good. We laughed, we talked, we had fun together, we did things together. You understand what I'm saying? But to end up finding out things like that, that is emotionally, that that's a monster.
How do you say it? Humiliating,
Yes,
shameful. It's a whole lot of.
all of it, all of it.
But
But
you floored me when you said it was 1 month after you got
Mm-hmm.
married. That's deep.
6 months after,
Six
6 months
months.
after, but I give God the glory. I give God the praise, because He brought me through it. He
Okay,
brought me.
okay, I know he did, but wait a minute. But how
Yeah,
did you juggle? How did you juggle between that 6 months and the 7 year or 8 year that you was together? Those years.
well,
How
see,
did
this,
you?
see, listen to me. I did not know. I didn't know.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. Let me ask this question. So, was the person in the same city, or that would be a difference if I was in another state?
I believe that they were. I believe that they were.
They were in another city.
I believe that they were in another city. Yeah, because honey, in the country, if anything go down like that, yeah, somebody would have probably came to my door and told me. But
Let me ask Fashina. Fashina, how did you get caught up in that spiral of that relationship? How did you get caught up in it? What did he do to woo you in to that relationship?
It was the spiritual thing. I got attracted to the spiritual side of him, and and that's where it took off. And then when I found out he was married, it was like I didn't care at that point because I was emotionally invested.
Hmm.
I knew it wasn't right, but it was like I didn't want to leave it.
Wow. Yeah, you made the sacrifice. You became the sacrificial lamb to say, I'll stay just to have him.
No, I made this. I made the decision to say no. I'm just going to call it for what it is. I made the decision that I didn't care. I didn't care, and I just cared about me
Well,
because I
girl,
felt
that must have been some good sex.
yeah. But then I was a sex addict too.
Oh,
At that point,
okay. I
I was
told you this show is called Reinvent Her Live Talk with Marion. So we're just going to be candid. So that's the only way that we can
I was
heal ourselves.
was an addict. So, and that was in the period of when I was an addict. So that appeared, and for me, it fed my addiction as well. So it's just wanting to get closer to God, and it's so many things that I can give you a whole bunch of shows on this one. But anyway, but you know I just, if for me, it just fed what I felt like I needed at that particular time on a physical, spiritual, and on all types of levels. But it wasn't right, it just wasn't right. But
So were you were still going to church?
yes,
See,
nothing
that's
changed.
why, because a lot of, let's say a lot of believers, we hide behind the cross when
Yeah,
we
we do.
know
We do.
that.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we
Yes, we
hide, we hide behind the dance and all the other stuff, the religious
do.
outward manifestations, but really we have all these other issues.
Yeah, deep, and I had deep rooted issues. I really did. And when I came into Christ, I still was an addict. I still had my addiction, and I still was dealing with, I would praise the Lord and get into the spirit, but as soon as a memory was triggered, all Hades broke loose in me, and I was like, something's not right. I thought Jesus was supposed to fix this, and I am. I feel like I'm being blasphemous and blah 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 blah. Not realizing there's a deep rooted extra, but then at the same time, my pain reliever was sex.
wow,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And and he didn't mind fulfilling those needs, even
Oh,
though.
he listen. This is you being candid. They enjoy that because when you're an addict, and I'm gonna leave it at that. They enjoy stuff like that.
So, John, let me ask you this: since you were in the relationship, and after 6 months, were there any changes in your sex life during that time? Because if he was gone all the time, was there any changes that you recognized besides I didn't cook? There had to be something more significant.
Just little things like that, because that was a big deal. It was no problem before. Everything was good, you know. But that disappearing, once that disappearing start and gone for days, yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's big evidence right there. That's it. That's
May,
it. Why are you
may, I,
gone?
may I ask
I
you a question, John?
I know what you're doing. You're driving. You're on the road. You're gone. You got to do these things. That's the job, right?
So Fashina would like to ask you a question.
So, did you find him like picking fights with you, for a reason to leave the house, or just for a reason to be
Not not that blunt. Just
okay?
little things.
Right.
No, okay, you gone for 4 days, 5 days. You come back. like everything is good. Nothing happened, nothing out of the ordinary. So where were you? So what did you do? Well, how were you there? Well, how many places did you have to go? And so you just get these half answers, to your questions. So I mean, to continuously dig at that, no, that was the eye-opening part of
Mhm.
it for me. And
Mhm.
sure, things blew up, but these are just the little things. And I said little things that, and you, like, just like you say, oh, when something's going on,
Right. Oh yeah.
you know, when the turnaround happens. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's always before the big bump drop. It's always signs.
Yeah. Yeah. There are always signs. Uh, that is, and being how if his job allowed him to go away, you know what I mean? If I'm traveling, that is a great excuse. You know what I mean? That is, you can't track all that because, oh, he's working, you
Right.
know.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
So tell me, Fashina, if you saw my husband and he was out and and he was misbehaving, would you come and tell me?
That's a good question. And if my thing is, would you want to know? Is the question.
I say I would want to know, but uh, yeah, I would want to know.
Okay. So with that case, well, look, I had a situation like that, and I lost a girlfriend because I told her the truth, and she stopped talking to me.
That's the price. That's another price you pay for.
So that's why I would ask you. If you want to know, I'm gonna say, "Hey, Pass. I mean, how you doing? Blah 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 blah. Listen, you gonna tell her? You want me to tell her which one? Because she gonna. I'm just gonna
So
let you know.
would you approach him while he was out?
Yes. Hey, how you doing? I saw him doing, I would have to blatantly see him doing something very inappropriate for me to
Right.
say, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, I see you. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Are you going to tell her, or do you want me to tell her?
Mm.
I think you might want to say something. Okay. And I don't mind getting the cell phone out in a second. Hold on a second.
Listen, let me snap the picture. Let me get
Yeah.
proof.
Hold
Because if I
on.
give you proof,
Exactly. But I tell people, I'm one of those people. If I ask you a question, I want to know the answer. I'm like Joan. I want to know. I don't care how ugly it is. I want to know because
I want to know.
I ask my friends, do you want to know? Because if you don't want to know, hey, I'm gonna keep it moving.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
relationship.
I would respect their opinion if you don't want to know.
Yeah.
And then I feel that if you're and if, I think if the person is very open and he's blatantly doing it, he or she, yeah, I think I would want to tell that person.
Yeah.
I think you need to check this. Maybe I'm not
Well,
maybe not say everything, but I will
right.
give you a hint.
Hey, lady, listen. Hey, how you doing? Everything all right? You start getting, hey, everything all right? Oh, okay. I was just checking. Okay. You kind of give the little subtle hints to, plant little seeds. You know how we do it. We can plant little seeds saying without saying something. But you know what? Wait a minute. Let me think about that for a second. But like I said, I would have to get. All my friends I know. I already know how they are. They know how I am. Tell me, because I want to know. But don't make sure you have facts. Don't come to me with I
Right.
think or no. We're not doing that.
So let me ask you, Fashina, when you went to the wife and you said, how did you approach her? What did you say actually?
Well, actually, at that time, she was ex-wife because they are already divorced.
Hmm.
Um, I just introduced myself. I just said, "Hi, my name is Fouchina. I'm not sure if you know who I am," and she knew who I was. And I said, "I just want to apologize for any trouble I've caused in your household, and would you forgive me?" Just that simple.
And how long were you in this relationship?
3 years.
Three. So you were dating. Were you guys in the same church? Because that's another question. Since
No.
you weren't in the same church. Okay. All right. Okay, that's understandable. Okay, y'all really. Okay.
Yeah, you on real, right?
But let's go back to this. I'm telling you guys, if you're struggling and having any kind of challenge with forgiving the person that wounded you, that hurt you, that disappointed you, that let you down, that caused you to make you doubt yourself, uh, you need to pick up a copy of this book. Put the knife down. $13. All you have to do is go to Marion Redish. Uh, just on my Cash App and put that $13 in there, and I'll make sure that this book get to your residence. Shipping and handle included. I'm telling you because there's layers. And what happens is with betrayal is, can I tell you that it didn't happen when it happened? It was happening before it happened.
Mm, yes,
Because
Mm-hmm.
that seed, because we
Mm-hmm.
might, when we see it, the seed is already sprouted.
Mm-hmm.
When we
already.
see it, sometime it might already be a tree, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But it just didn't happen, like, oh, well, he just all of a sudden. No, it wasn't all of a sudden. There were
Mm-hmm.
things that were happening along the way that caused that change. And you're so right, Joan. You can't blame yourself. You're not responsible for nobody's behavior
But your own.
but your own.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So did you feel like that it was your fault at any time, Joan, before you came to the knowledge of where you are now?
Definitely. Definitely. You always feel like, what could I have done? What did I do? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, going back to spirit, you think, God, I should have really prayed about this before I got into relationship. I really
Ooh.
face, because we sometimes we attracted to people because you love their smile, you love the way they kid around, you love, just the naturalness of them, the outgoingness of them, and makes you laugh or whatever, you have fun, you relate together, you attracted to people for different reasons because they're a strong man, they go out and they
Are
take
you
care of business,
lonely?
and stuff like that. Are you lonely? But to be really attracted to somebody, there's got to be something, as far as I'm concerned, something that's connecting me with that person that I enjoy, that I wouldn't mind being around a lot of times. But yeah, yeah. Are you lonely? You want, like I said before, you want this relationship. You already preconceived in your mind that this is what I want, and not really going to God like you should. And that is so important. And I tell you 3 times over, that is so important to go to God before you get into a relationship, whether it's a believer or not. Don't get tripped because a person is saved or because a person is filled with the Spirit, that that's the one. Pray, girls, seek the face of God, because we make these mistakes just by trying to connect in that way.
I always think that.
Add on to that. Now, when you pray, remove the distractions from your life so you can receive the answer that you're seeking.
That's good. But I also want to add to this too, ladies. I think before you get into any relationship, like sometimes people will not come for a spiritual counsel from their leaders. Sometimes people just go ahead and jump into a relationship because this is what they want to. Because most of the time, if you come to a spiritual leader and ask for counsel concerning a relationship, and what if they tell you no? I don't think this is right for you right now. But if we want it bad enough, what we'll do, we'll go out of town, we'll elope, we'll still, but nonetheless, those issues are still underlying,
Right.
and they might not show up right at the on the onset, but initially they will show up, and sometimes bring in someone before a spiritual leader to look at them to, you get what I mean, to discern, to help you discern, because when you're in love, you're blind. Is that right or wrong, ladies?
Right.
See what you
That
want to see.
is right.
Mm-hmm.
You see what you want to see. Wow. Well, you know what, ladies, you guys are really so now how is your relationship with these other people? Do you keep a distance or do you communicate? How is that for either one of you?
Oh, there's a distance, my daughter's old enough, you know. So yeah, that's the end of that. She's old,
Okay.
yes, with him, and that's what they do.
Hmm.
There's practically zero communication between us. There's
Yeah.
no need.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that is, yeah, I do understand that. That is, yeah, I do understand that. But Gina, how is the relationship and the distance between you and the one that hurt you? You good or you just say, mm-mm?
It's cordial because we have a child together, and like I said, I show my son that we can come together collectively as parents. So it's not about me, it's not about him, it's about our child, and we keep it cordial for him.
But your son is 10. Her,
Hmm.
how old is your child, Joan? I can't hear you.
20.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, but I understand whatever your choice is for your distance. Um, Now this might sound, this is, oh, Jesus, I'm
Just
hitting
put it out
myself.
there.
I can remember, would, when I dated someone many moons ago, and they turned out not to be what I had expected them to be. And then came along the knight in shining armor. But anyway, when I reflect back to those times, it's someone, and this might, and there's no animosity in my heart, but I ask people, what do you do with doo doo? So once I flush that situation, I don't go back looking for it. And it's no hard feelings, no hurt, no, I mean, none of that. It's just that I flushed it and I don't intend to go back and dig it up. It
Right,
is what it is. It's just that I moved on.
right.
That's
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and that's why sometimes I think with, because sometimes women, we can have a tendency, we got the picture by the side of the bed, or we got a book of memoirs where we go back and reflect. Sometimes we need not to return to some things that we've been delivered out of. What do you think about that, Fashina?
right.
You know what? I got this thing I put on my phone called DNA. Do not answer. I don't get rid of your number because I had it where people call me and I had a new phone and I end up picking up the phone call. I'm like, so I just list you as DNA. And if it get too bad, I just block you, because my thing is the past is the past and you're the past for a reason. And it just gets to a point, once again, I have to draw the line in the sand.
Oh, yes.
And and there are some people that you have to deal with because of it, environments that you're in, like you're
God,
a family
yeah.
or something like that. But once
Hmm.
again, there's a line that you draw in the sand, and you have to stay on that side of the line, and I'm gonna stay on this side of the line, and you're no longer welcome on that side of the line, and we'll keep it just the way it is.
Absolutely.
Because
No, no, no reminiscing and I remember when, because now you about to really step back into that again. So, Joan,
right,
has betrayal stopped you from opening your heart to others?
Of course not.
Very
Of course,
good.
of course not. And I mean, uh, of course not. But listen, after the relationship, of course, some years later, I got married again. But that didn't work out. That didn't work. So I'm good.
Okay, so right now you're good, but do you ever think you will ever love again?
Me? No, not in that way. No. I mean, and I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
Okay,
At me, but yeah, I'm good with it. I am.
okay, I respect that. For Sheena,
At at this point, maybe when I'm 70, I might change my mind.
okay, I respect your opinion. Okay. For Sheena, do you think that you're open for love again?
I was like Joan for a long time, and where I am now is I'm just working on China because I realized that I had some issues that I dealt with, and I was reading this book by Rainey Howard called Addicted to Pain, and in it
Woo.
talks about toxic relationships I endured from sexual abuse, abandonment, rejection, and all of that, and realized that I put out some
You were
toxic.
toxic.
I was toxic. And I realized that I had to do some self check. I'm doing self checking of China. And until China is right, China can't be right for someone else.
That's
So,
right.
and while I'm getting myself together, God is preparing him. So when that time comes where we're going up that peak to reach God, he's preparing me, he's preparing him, and they will meet. So, yes,
At
I
the
am.
appointed time.
That's right, at the appointed time. But until that time, China's working on her.
That's good. Joan, I like what Fashina was sharing. So I'm going to say you hold on to some of that too that she was sharing and prepare the Joan for for the one that God has for Joan. So I would say don't shut down and get what I mean? Just keep it
Right.
because once you shut down, even if he wants to send someone to you, you can't see it and recognize it because you shut it down. But if you leave your heart open and not to be crushed. And what we did to get ourselves in those situations, we have learned from that not to go that path anymore and to do something different. So, what would you do different than what you've done in the past, Fashina?
I just learned who I am and whose I am. And once I learn that, then I know my self worth. I know who I'm worthy. So when I see the signs, I can smell it before I see it. You know, and
Truly,
yeah, and
that's
so
what discernment will do.
yeah, and I'm abstinent, and I've been practicing, abstinent for a long time because that was my commitment to God. This is how serious I am. Cold turkey just went just like that because I don't like anything having control over me, and
That's
I knew that
good.
did, and it started with that. So for me, just being what I do is just change. I come to a realization of me and self checking me and ask that hard question. God showed me. And be prepared for the answer that and what he shows because he is going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, you definitely got to be able to accept what he showed you
Oh, yeah.
because he really want the best out of you to be like him. And I had to walk through that. And then let me it's like burning bridges. Like sometimes you can be betrayed so that like we were saying the distance, well, will allow you to come back across that bridge again, that line that you're drawn, because of uh but I'm gonna say to anybody who has betrayed anyone, never to burn bridges because you never know in life if you might have to come back across that bridge again. And not only you, maybe sometime your children or somebody in your family that you burnt the bridge. And
Wow.
it's hard now for someone to even want to help you, even though I don't know. And then, like, Joan, tell me, how high were your walls? Because when I hear you said no relationship right now, I'm feeling you have walls.
Yeah, I mean, r- right now, no relationships right now. I believe that
Are you
I
healed? Let me ask you that. Are you healed?
I believe I am from that relationship. I believe I am. I believe I am. I feel like if I wasn't, I wouldn't be able to go on. You understand? But at this point in my life, I want to be satisfied with me. And I want God to be satisfied with me. And just as the sister said, I want God to do some moving, okay? Because I feel like I have moved me enough. Now I want Him, to lead. I mean, just as you say, keep your heart open. If it's for me, I believe that God, and I believe that I am ready to hear from God, the way that it was before. That was something I liked. That was something I thought would be good. Now, spiritually and more spiritual minded because of the things that we go through, we tend to be able to hear from God just a bit more, a bit stronger, a bit more assured that yes, this is God. At this point in my life, that's all I want to do. I just want to hear from God. I love people. I love conversating with people. I love relationships, just cordial. You understand what I'm saying? But to be in a relationship at this point in my life, I'm not ready for that.
And I respect that. Yeah, because you're still working on you. That's why I was saying the walls. Once you have dealt with our own personal self and our own personal issues, then the walls will come down. But now I know you. I just heard what you said that you. But because long as there's a wall, there's still something that we're hiding from ourselves. There's still something that we don't want to deal with ourselves. This is how this book came about because I had walls that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to deal with because I thought that they were healed and I thought I was over it. And then, Father visited me in a dream and told me to put the knife down. And because I'm saying to you, because there's still that little bit of apprehensiveness, I'm gonna still say, yeah, like Fouchina say, continue to work on yourself and your healing and your wholeness. And you'll
Mm-hmm.
know when you heal, when it don't hurt anymore.
Right.
You'll know
Right.
when just the thought, because I ran into someone that I saw that prompt this book. You know what? I thank them for this book. That was a blessing. Listen. I got a blessing out of it. I couldn't see it at first, and I ain't gonna lie. But now, I mean, it blesses me to write a book. Well, one day I was out and about, and I saw and the person, and I was just cordial as I can be, and so I get back to wherever I was going at the moment. Well, here come the devil. Well, don't you know? Okay, he gonna come back with something to talk to me, right? And I had to immediately shut that down. I said, and I wrote a post. I said, today I ran into my ex, and my ex wanted me back. And what the X was, the hatred, the bitterness, the unforgiveness. So I ran into my ex because when I saw that person face to face again, or the enemy tried to bring her back, all of those old emotions, all that old stuff, to see if I really dealt with that. So I said, today I ran into my ex, and my ex
Mm-hmm.
wanted me back. But I
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm out of your league now.
That's
I'm
right.
too far gone now to look back at that, to allow it to bring me again
Right.
into bondage,
That's
Right.
because I
right.
actually was in bondage.
That's right.
Because again, like you said, Fashina, the control. I
Mm-hmm.
allowed another person to control my emotions, how I felt, whether I was high or low, or whether my blood pressure, come on, whether my blood pressure went up or
Right, exactly,
so.
exactly. If it's okay, I just want to hit on a couple things that I wasn't able to chime on earlier. One of them was walls. We don't want to build walls because even though we're blocking things out, we're unable to receive things in. So
Absolutely.
instead of walls, you want to build gates because you have control over what goes in and out of your gates. That's
Yeah.
what I want when it comes to walls. When it comes to burning bridges, be careful of that because you want to have to cross that same bridge. And how you know you are forgiven, I'll never forget when my ex was having issues with the same woman that he left me and my child for, was having issues. And I said, I'm going to pray for you and your wife. And I said, did I just say that? I meant it. I'm going to pray for you and your wife. And that's how I knew I had forgiven. And I said, it's interesting how God will use you because the same one that betrayed you, he will use you to help deliver them or pray for them in the same situation. So I
Well,
had to open myself.
oh, absolutely. I said, because if not, you do have those revenge thoughts.
Yeah.
And because God knows
Mm-hmm.
I have sinned, Father.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Lord. Please. And
I
you
have
on the
sinned
cross.
before you,
Don't forget.
Father. I need you to forgive me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh my
Thank you,
God.
Lord.
Well, ladies, I can't believe we are past our time. What advice would you offer to those who feel forgiveness is impossible? Fashina.
Mm. what I will tell you is forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you.
That's a fact.
Um, if you want out of bondage, if you want freedom, forgive. Forgive to forgive to a point, even if it feels uncomfortable, do it until it gets comfortable for you. Okay? And then forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself. That's critical. Forgiving yourself for allowing yourself not to see and not to respond to what you saw, because the Holy Spirit will always check you.
That's right.
And that's where the forgiveness of yourself is. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you need to pick up a copy of Put the Knife Down, because it's going to transform your life. It's going to help. You can't even move to your destiny.
That's
Do
right.
you know, as long as I was holding on to all of those raw emotions, and as long as I was feeding into those things that the enemy was saying to me, and as long as I was looking at other people instead of putting my eyes on Jesus, I was holding up my destiny. I was holding up the purpose and plan that God had for my life. And once I understood that, as Fouchina was saying, forgiveness is not for you, for the other person. It's for
It's
you. And even if they never apologize, don't wait for an apology in order for you to move on.
right.
You forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Because remember, God doesn't judge you based on what they do to you. He judges you on how you handle what they do to you.
Oh my God. Yes, that is a fact. So even through that, it's a growing process
That's right.
of letting go of our feelings, our emotions, our hurt, our pain, our disappointment, and being honest with God to say, God, you know what? I can't stand they behind. You got to be just that candid with God. God, I don't. I just can't, God, I can't take up.
I'm gonna need you, Jesus. I'm gonna need you,
I
Jesus.
mean,
Jesus.
that is factual. You have to be just, because God knows what we feel anyway, and we
Yep.
can't hide from Him. So when I went to God and I was just like, I just poured out my heart, God, and then God began to help me, because I was just candid that I had needed help. Ladies and gentlemen, before we leave tonight, I would like for you to go to my Cash App. It's on the crawl. Redish 77, and order this book for $13. It is going to change your life. You can thank me later, because it's going to bring it. And the Bible also tells us, until I could pray for them, to bless them, like I wanted God to bless me, I knew I wasn't over it. As long
Hmm.
as I was just, Fashina, at what point did you begin to pray? What prayer did you begin to pray to get you through?
It was simple prayer, like Lord, just help me. And Lord, I love you. I wanna serve you. I wanna do it, but I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm mad as fire. And I went to him naked. I told him I was upset. I told him why I was upset, and I want to slap the fire out of him.
Girl, thank
I
you,
was
stay there, God. You stop at the word fire.
yeah, I want fire out of him. I but I had to get to a point where I got upset. I started praying for him or anybody that did me wrong. I started praying,
Right.
and anytime the enemy tried to throw them up in my face, I said, you know what, enemy, you a liar. So I pray for so and so right now in the name of Jesus. Bless them, bless their family,
Bless
but
their
whatever.
family, meet every need.
Exactly. That's how I started. And I tell you, is it comfortable? No, but you have to do it until uncomfortable becomes comfortable for you and
Absolutely.
becomes second
Absolutely.
nature. But I would love to hear what Joan have to say about how
Well,
she.
meet Joan. Come on.
I
I know.
know. That's
I know
what
it's
I
after 8 o'clock. Lord Jesus, come on, Joan, before we can close out.
I mean, really, I just pray and ask the Lord to give me the strength, first of all, to move on.
Yes.
Move on, because the devastation was real. It
Yeah.
wasn't a joke. It was real. It was hurtful. It was painful. And so, the Lord had to dig deep down in me to take away that hurt. When you can just sit in a midst of people, crowded people, you don't care. When the pain comes, it comes and you begin to cry and boo-hoo cry like a baby, but get to the point. Lord, give me the strength to get through this. Lord, give me the strength to give up this pain. God, give me the strength to give up this shame. God, give me the strength to just give up this disappointment that I've
Oh, that's so
experienced,
good. That's so good.
that I could move on so that I
Yeah.
can be a whole person once again. Whole. I want to be whole. I want to be
Oh,
when I see the person, I don't want to tense up, but I want to be able to say, "Hey, how you doing?
God,
How
yeah.
And I'm able to do that. That is such a wonderful point to get to in your life, because I know for a fact that when you continuously hold on to hurt, it does nothing but take you down.
That's a
And
fact.
I refuse to allow the enemy to take me down, y'all. I'm loving life and I appreciate God, just like we said before. I appreciate Him for taking me through it and
Oh,
me out of it, bringing me out with a high hand that
oh
I could
yeah.
praise, that I could encourage others. It may be bad now, it may not feel so good. I'll be okay.
You're gonna
After
be
what
okay. You're gonna be
I
okay.
remember, I used to tell my kids, you don't feel good, you feel down. I said, just do this. I said, immediately when you do this, you can feel life coming into you. You can feel some joy coming in, but you do it until it's
Yes. Yes.
real. You know,
Especially when you have to live it out in public. See, because my incident was public. So I had to live it out publicly and walk it out publicly without the enemy taking, and so I had made up my mind. I wasn't delivered. I was still in my bondage, in my captivity of my anger and I was still in all of that. But publicly I had strength to come out. I wouldn't go into hiding. I said, I'm not hiding. I'm going out every day. When I had to go out, I just went out when I had to go out. I wasn't going into hiding because I knew that I was living this public shame, this public humiliation. But Father gave me strength to do. And I'm with you with that, Joan, that you asked for the strength to go in. And I held my head up. I never held my head down. If you asked me how I was doing, I might have been still falling apart on the inside. And I did tell that lie and told him I was all right. But maybe that being my confession that I'm all right helped me got through that.
You
So
were speaking life into yourself.
yes, yes. Indeed. Ladies, I done went over my time because you guys are so phenomenal. You guys are so candid. You guys are so honest and transparent and relevant tonight that we could go on and on and on. But
I think
tonight we're gonna. What you saying, Fouchina?
it sounds like a part two to me, but
Sound like a. Well, we'll see about a part two. Okay. Well, before we close out tonight, Joan, give us a last word.
I just want to say, to those that have been through, that God is able. God is able.
And
You
if
do
you're in
need
it
to,
now,
and if you're in it now, you need to come on out. Amen. You need to really, but realize that you are somebody. Realize that you are special. Realize that you deserve the best.
yeah.
Realize that. Realize who you are, and God made you. He created you in His likeness and in His, amen, image, and you are beautiful.
yes.
Oh, this thought just came to me. Guys, listen to this. Even though we do things to get ourselves into situations, but God picks our trials because He knows what's in us that needs to come up out of us. So He allowed you. Fashina, what are your closing remarks?
Woo! What Joan said, I love it. I was trying to think of something TD Jack said. I have it on my mirror. Um, anyway, I'm just going to say this. You know, whatever happened to you yesterday is yesterday. You survived it, you endured it, but you're not a part of it anymore. It happened yesterday. Every day is a new day. Get up, dust yourself off, And like you said, even though you may be in pain, you smile like Miss Jones said, and like Miss Mary
Honey,
said, you just continue to say, "I'm good," because you're speaking life back into yourself.
absolutely. Hey guys, this has been phenomenal. I mean, this has been enlightening, inspiring, and empowering. I want to thank you so much for being a part of this show. And for Sheena, I'll think about next week. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about it and see where we can take this further, because there is more to dive into this, because this is wow. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for chiming in tonight. And please go and get a copy of my book. And in the future, I am going to be coming on YouTube. I'm going to change over from Facebook to YouTube, where we'll be coming live from YouTube. I will keep you abreast. Just want to put that in your spirit. So before we leave tonight, could all of you that are listening to this show tonight, could you please click like and share, that other people can hear the wisdom that is flowing from these phenomenal women of God who have gone through, conquered, won, and still standing strong and are still rising. So if you could do me that favor, click like and share tonight. So until the next time, guys, I want you to be blessed till we speak again. We love you much. See you next week. Joan, y'all want
Good,
to say goodbye?
Bye.
good night.
Good night. Okay, guys, y'all hold on a minute. I'm going to come over to where you are. Don't say anything yet because I hadn't clicked off yet. Wait, I'm chiming you out, chiming you out. Okay, there we go.